Hi everyone. I've talked about various negotiating strategies and pitfalls that I've fallen for over the past year or so, but there's one that I didn't anticipate that I'm still kicking myself for. It wasn't a big loss, but I'm kicking myself at how stupid the series of events had been. What had happened was I was browsing Craigslist and somebody needed her smartphone screen replaced, and I knew how to do that. And I had quoted her for $100. And keep in mind, the material is going to cost me $50. I'm making only $50 minus whatever the cost is to drive to her place. And she was okay with that price, and then there was some back and forth, and I hadn't ordered the material yet because I wanted to make sure that everything was going. And then I started emailing her, and I got no response. Part of the problem with Craigslist when you get no response is that you never know what's happening on the other end. Did they find somebody else to do it for a better price? Did they decide to get a new phone anyway? Did they move? Did something happen to them? Did they die? You never know what's happening. Uh, Not to sound morbid, but if they did die, at least I want to know, and I'd like to be able to mourn with whoever it was because I did interact with them at one point, right? But a lot of people they decide that whatever fun thing they want to do next is more important than spending 5 seconds to close the matter. I never do that. If I open an email with somebody on Craigslist and things don't go well, or even if things completely go south and I can't trust that person, I'm going to send an email to close the matter because it takes me 5 seconds. It can save a lot of hassle. They don't have to guess. They don't have to potentially travel to my place. They don't potentially have to order parts or whatever the case may be. They don't potentially have to prepare for the matter. Anyways, so a week goes by and I must have sent two or three emails. And I sent a fourth email lowering the price to $80. It might not sound like a lot, but again, the material is going to cost me $50, and that included the material. And she sent me a long email apologizing for the delay because such and such and such, just life going on. Not that she was bullshitting, but there were a lot of things unrelated to the fact the phone needed to be replaced. And I think I understand why I lowered the price and sent so many rapid fire emails. I had a lot of things going on in my life as well. I had two job interviews that I had to go to, and I live in an apartment where my landlord is very disorganized about how much rent is due, and she always sends me this crazy massive bill, and it's not accurate. I have to talk to her about it, and she was away on vacation, and then I went away for something, and then I couldn't. Long story short, I couldn't find the time to resolve it with my landlord. There were also matters going on with my own personal relationships. And when I have so many open things that are up in the air, I have a tendency to want to shoot some of them down. And this is a problem of mine. There's only so much I can keep in an open ledger in my mind before I start to go insane over them. There's this offer on that's not closed out. I wasn't desperate to make the money. I was desperate to close the books on the matter. That's what it was. And this is a problem I run into a lot of in negotiations. The second problem I can run into when I do any sort of odd job or even a formal job is I run into clients who are just too friendly with me to do business with. When I first started doing tutoring here in the Seattle area, my very first client just got along so well with me. We shared every detail of our lives. We shared her the kid I was tutoring. He was 14 years old, and we were sharing about what college he wanted to go to. Whether or not he wanted to get married, he didn't. And what he did with his pets. It was too friendly to the point where I couldn't raise the price. Is what I'm trying to get at. The other problem is the chemistry. I talked in a previous video that I don't get along very well with Americans of either race. Your typical redneck American or your African American. I don't get along with those people very well, but I do very well when I do business with them, precisely because I don't get along with them. It's a pure business. There's no friendship involved in there. But when I get an Asian client or an Eastern European client or even a Middle Eastern client, well, there's too much chemistry going on for there to be any negotiation to happen. So this actually worked to my advantage when I was buying the car. I'm driving a Mitsubishi Lancer, and the car dealer was Asian. And when I was buying the car, I didn't realize that when I got into the accident last year, that my license had been suspended until I retook the test. I didn't realize that, and I went car shopping. And it was only after I was calling the insurance company to get insurance that I realized I had a problem. And I was just so depressed because I had already signed out my lease. I had already canceled my lease with my apartment, and I was planning to move into the car. And I was thinking about what I'm gonna do. I don't want to end up in the street. It was February, it was cold. If it happened in the summer, maybe I could sleep in the street for a few days. And I was just so depressed sitting at the counter, and I had lost it so much that I started talking about happier things, talking about my computer games, talking about some times I had with my girlfriend. I was talking to the dealer about all this stuff. I just lost my mind. That's all. And he and I had some good laughs, and then he told me that he would let me use his car to take the exam, and I got too arrogant, and when I went to take the exam the first time, I failed. And then the dealer, he hesitated about letting me use his car for an exam again because I failed the first one. I knew why. He didn't tell me. He just started saying that he was busy or whatever. And anyways, I went to I eventually figured out a driving school where I could take the exam. It was good. It was good. The other thing was while we were negotiating the car and I got sad and I started talking about the computer games, he started lowering the price. Yeah, I just have such good chemistry with Asian people that negotiations they always go awkward in terms in either direction. You see, if I'm selling, I got to sell to a redneck American, right? When I'm buying it, I better buy from an Asian guy, right? Because we have such good chemistry that the price will only get better. Having clients who have good chemistry with me is the second downfall that I run into. The third downfall that I run into is that I get prepared for various questions that might come, but they come at a weak moment, and I rush to answer them. I was also doing another tutoring job, and this time I got a redneck American. And I had been interviewing him about what he was working on, and toward the end of the interview, he popped the question what the price was at a moment where I really wasn't prepared, and I gave something that was okay. But I wish I had a little bit more time to think it over, especially if I had gone home and searched his name to see, just what kind of guy this is. That's my favorite. If I could do a little bit of background snooping before I give a quote, it's a little bit personal. But he had popped the question at a really really I wouldn't say inappropriate, but while we were delving deep into his what he was studying, it was totally out of context, is what I'm trying to say. He really pulled that one off very well. I didn't do too badly on answering it, but like I said, I wish I could have done some more homework before I answered it. Yeah, so those are the big three that I run into: the needing to close my ledger, the chemistry of the opponent, and also the questions being popped up at the wrong moment for me. And those are some negotiating skills that I want to work on. Thanks for watching.